That's the best thing to do if you want to get off the phone with somebody, or you're wanting to get away from that person and you need to get away quick. Start talking about gold and silver and how the dollar is going to collapse and that they should be buying gold and silver, and they will drop you, and they'll be polite about it, but they'll run fast.
Only a small percentage of the world population owns silver and gold, even fewer in the United States of America. And the enthusiast amongst us, well, we're even rarer, maybe 1 in 500 people. But we share a passion for silver and gold, while at the same time, we all have a unique story, a story that offers education, maybe some entertainment, and an opportunity for us to connect and relate. Today, I have an enthusiast with us, Mr. Buddy Rumble, and he's going to tell us his story about precious metals. Buddy, welcome to Ron's Basement.
Well, thank you, Ron. I'm glad to be here, and it's an honor. And I value as one of the smartest people out there in this gold and silver YouTube videos, and I there's only very few people that I listen to, and I try to listen to the smartest people, and I think the viewers should know that you are one of the greats. So
well, I appreciate you saying that. It's a great honor for me to hear that. I always tell everyone who watches my videos, you are the most important part. I learn a lot from the viewers as well, and that includes you. Now, before we got started, you told me that where you work, sometime the guys come in and say, "Are we ready to rumble?"
yeah, they the backup story just a little bit. I for years I was in a family business, and back in '99 we'd sold to Waste Management and got out of it, but so I kind of changed gears and went into law enforcement, security. I went in the military late in life. But where I work now, I'm a deputy in a parish here in Louisiana, and I'm an old Missouri boy, so just like you, Ron.
All right.
I go into the jail, and all of them, well, are you ready to rumble? And I hear that all the time.
That's funny. Well, we're ready to rumble. I want to hear from you. How did it all get started? You're a is it safe to say you're a silver and gold enthusiast?
Oh, yeah.
How did it all get started for you?
How it get started? My dad was always kind of a little flamboyant, like gold, silver, and was in business, and was I'm not saying wealthy, rich, like some like Trump or somebody like that, or some of the very, very rich, wealthy, but he was well-to-do. He was a self-made person, and he liked gold and silver. And I can remember I had been in first grade somewhere, about 6 or 7. We went to Zales, or it was Zales or Hellsberg's, and he bought me a gold ring, and I was probably one of the lucky few back in the 70s to even to wear it was a 10-karat gold ring. So I was exposed at a young age. So, and then growing up, I grew up around a lot of people that had lived in the Depression, and they're business people. And I can remember we'd go into a business that was the guy he's dead now, but he had an equipment company, and we bought our equipment through him. And he had a safe, and they had silver, and they had coins. He had gold. I mean, and these older people that were successful, they knew the value of gold and silver. And so it's always been around me in my life. And when times were down, I mean, I've always been able it's gold and silver's been there for me if I need something.
I want to interject something, an observation that I've made in the year and 3 months that I've been running this channel. And I'm hyper focused on silver and gold. definitely there's a big trend amongst my viewership of small business owners, people that own businesses, people that are, a lot of them are self-made. And I find that interesting that you bring that up as well. That these people that are out there and, really grinding away to run a business, and that they, for some reason, and I know my friend Coin Shop Chris down in, that I talked to, he works at a coin shop. He says a lot of the people that come in are small business owners. That's interesting that that you bring that up as well.
Well, I mean, when you run a business, you understand the value of money. If you watch the dimes, or what was it? There's a saying, is that watch the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And so when you start running a business, you realize the value of money, and this fiat currency that they have. God, I don't know. I think I was in my late 20s. I was sitting looking at a dollar bill, and I thought, what really makes this thing worth anything? It can burn, it can be blown away. I mean, a wind can pick it up and blow it, and it's gone.
It can be printed.
It can be
copied.
printed. Yes,
Yeah.
it can be counterfeited. So
Yeah.
the only thing that makes it worth anything is because our government leaders says it is. And so that fiat currency is only as strong as that country that prints it. And everybody that's has a gold and silver interest, the Exeter's pyramid, gold is right down there on that tip. That's holding that whole pyramid upside down, and that's top heavy, and that gold and silver is what is the base, just like a building. It's the base that holds everything that's out there together.
And I appreciate you bringing up John Exeter's pyramid. I have a hard time putting this into words, but I would almost even argue, if you look at that pyramid, have we ever really, I mean, I know officially, like, the United States has been off the gold standard since 1971, but if gold and silver are really the base, the foundation, like you said, yeah, sure, they might say we're up, but gold and silver, has the world, let's look at it as a world perspective, ever really gone off the gold or silver standard? Does that make sense at all? I mean,
I mean, because it holds everything together. I mean,
yeah,
it's controlled by the stock market. It's manipulated, but that's what people go to when they're Ponzi schemes or fiat currency or legal Ponzi schemes. Like I consider the stock market gambling or whatever, but gold and silver is what has been the foundation,
glue.
the foundation. And if we didn't have it, then it'd be something else maybe, but that's what holds the whole system up. And our schools and our colleges and universities, I don't believe they really push that anymore. Everything is, well, credit cards or Bitcoin or the fiat currency, and that's what money is. And people are living in an illusion, kind of like the Matrix,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it makes me feel like, and I know this is it's a hard concept for me to grasp, but like, has the world ever gone off the gold or silver standard? It's always there. I mean, temporarily, yeah, there's these little
recorded history.
Yeah, if you look at it through the lens of time, or even, like all these different little make-believe fiat currencies, tulips at one point, tulip bulbs, and I mean, different things come and go over the long, history, gold and silver are like the foundation, the glue, however you want to say it.
Well, it's kind of interesting, what is it? The pyramid is kind of like what is it, the Masons or yeah, that's kind of a even on the dollar, it's a pyramid. So even at that, there's kind of a lead back to the Masonic rites, and so I'm not, I don't know, but I mean, I'd say that it was made by design to be our foundation.
Well, didn't the country do pretty well on the gold and silver? I mean, we were on pretty much the gold standard, the silver standard. I think the United States did pretty darn. I mean, the argument could be made things went pretty well for the United States overall up until 1971. And I think now you could say, yeah, we kind of had a good little run since 1971, but is it sustainable? It's kind of like a family that lived financially conservative and then said, let's forget that, and we're going to live on our credit cards for the next 10 years.
Well, but you go back, go back. They replaced the dollar's value with oil, the petrodollar, and that's what's kept it going all these years up until now. Until this is a gold and silver channel, and we're talking, and I don't want to go down politics or make people mad or anything like that there, but here a year ago, a year and a half ago, somebody went and made the Saudis mad, made OPEC, and now the de-dollarization's going. Countries are dropping the dollar. They've weaponized the US dollar. We're heading, I can't help not feel we're heading somewhere where people that laugh at you for trading your fiat currency in to real money, they're going to be on the outside looking in. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. Right, like the petrodollar is what essentially allowed us to live beyond our means for the last probably 50 or 40 or 50 years, and they're dropping the petrodollar at what is probably the worst time for the United States, right? We are in a more precarious financial situation now than any other time in history.
We've cut production down. We've cut the leases off on new oil. And the president bragged about shutting down coal-fired electrical plant, or it might have been mines. And I think it could have been the mines. And without even coal, we can't even generate electricity enough to run the country. I mean, so we're in a lot of times that people got to start waking up, and and we've got, people need to be having that gold, that need to be having that silver. And
just let me interject this.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me interject this. At the same time, we know that the world central banks bought a record amount of gold last year. I mean, it hit me last night. I was walking down the hallway, getting ready to go to bed, and I was like, I got to bring up this point. Like, what does that tell you? Or I was thinking, like, 2 years from now, when Ron and Buddy are talking, right? We're going to continue to rumble. We're going to say, what did it tell us? I mean, how, our people will be looking back saying, we should have known, because the world central banks were buying a record amount of gold, what was going to happen. And I mean, nobody knows. Look, you and I don't have crystal balls, but we can look at the facts and kind of put them together. Look what's going on with the world moving away from the dollar. Look what's going on with the world central banks buying gold. Look what's going on in the world geopolitical stage, right? The world just overall, and that these countries that are kind of aligning themselves as more of an oppositional force to the United States, that they're putting they value gold and silver much more, right? I mean, America, we don't value. I mean, it was illegal to own gold from 33 to 74. And in 71, Nixon took us off the gold standard, and there was kind of a concerted effort to dissuade Americans away from gold. Like most Americans just don't know.
Well, when Nixon took us off that was an executive order. I mean, and you'd think that somebody can't they? I mean, they can rewrite executive orders and bring us back to the gold standard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't ratified by Congress and Senate and then signed by or then signed by the president. So it's really a long-standing executive order.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I've in my gut feeling, I think everybody has to plan for the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, then you got all your bases covered. And
right.
if we have and things not so bad, then you're setting good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's the thing. Really, it's how do we reach the young people? How do we reach the people that are closed-minded and to get them on deck with us, that don't just rely on that fiat currency. For
Right.
years, you talk to like a Morgan Stanley stockbroker or your investment counselor, and they say, well, you need to diversify. 10% or 10-20% is okay to invest in gold and silver. I don't know. So gold and silver is, to me, has never went to zero.
No.
I mean, there's companies that's crashed, the stock market crashed, and years ago and before the Depression, but gold still remained up there. It wasn't zero. And silver.
No. Now look at the banks. Some of these banks, you look at some of these recent bank stocks. The most recent one now is PacWest, right? And their stock, I mean, it's down like 95%, 98%, right? And a year ago, your financial advisor probably would have been saying, whoa, yeah, that's a great, that's a solid bank.
That's a good bank to invest in.
That's a good bank. Yeah, right.
Their sheets look good. And
yeah. It's interesting. When you talk about kids, I always like to bring this up. I have twin 11-year-old, hard to believe, identical twin daughters. And kids play all types of games on their tablets, and now they have little phones, and they're always, there's all kinds of games, even on the Xbox. But it dawned on me at one point, a lot of these games that they play, what they're doing is they're collecting silver coins or gold coins. That's like the prize, it's always silver and gold. And so while I know that like a lot of Americans, a lot of younger Americans maybe don't realize the safety component of it, they do realize the value.
They don't budget it into their life.
Mm-hmm.
One of the people that I like listening to, Robert Kiyosaki. Mm-hmm. I think very, very intelligent man, but I think he's got a business he's running too, so he has a something to sell. But one of his statements, and which is true, and I've always believed that, you can go, excuse me, and buy a 1 ounce coin for less than, for right now, I think with the premium, $30, $31, depending on where if someone is just starting out, just does that once a month, you're still ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But I myself, we're heavily invested in gold and silver, and in some cash, but and then whatever I make, that's what I live on. And at the end of the month, I go and I just turn my excess back into silver or gold. So that's how I do.
Yeah, you said something earlier I want to touch on too, that in your gut, right? And that's the best way I can describe it as well. In my gut. And that happened to me probably around, I don't know, 1999, 2001, 2002, as I've always been interested in the markets and the economy, but as I kind of learned about silver and gold, it was readily apparent to me in my gut that it just feels like, like this is a 10-ounce silver bar. Like this is value.
Yeah.
This has, this has value. And heck, back then, I thought things were screwed up with how they were managing the economy and managing. I mean, what's happened in the last 20 years is outrageous. My gut tells me even more that this has value. And I think that the powers that be have fought particularly hard to keep the value of silver and gold down over the last 15 or 20 years. And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I do think that I mean, I'd be curious to hear your opinion on this. When Nixon took us off the gold standard, right? He kind of divorced the dollar from gold. It's kind of like a divorce in real life, right? Like if he says, well, we don't want to back the dollar with gold anymore, wouldn't there be, and maybe I'm wrong, but wouldn't there be then like a incentive if they're separating the dollar from gold to keep gold down? I mean, it never really made sense to me when people would say that, but the more I looked at it, the more I thought about it, it's like if you're switching what you're backing the currency with, what you're essentially saying is we don't think that's valuable and we don't want it to be valuable. I don't know. I'm maybe a bad analogy, but it'd be like a race car company that switches from using Chevy engines to Ford engines or whatever. They're saying, hey, we don't think that's good anymore. We're moving over to this. Does that make any sense whatsoever, buddy?
Yeah, it does. But your analogy is kind of divorcing from gold, the dollar from the gold. Well, it's like a divorce with children. The government still had gold in Fort Knox. They went from the 33. So I mean, there is, they've got to manipulate it where it
suits their needs.
Suits their needs. Yes.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I like that, buddy. A divorce with children, right? Because, right, supposedly there is still 8,000 tons of gold in Fort Knox.
Yeah, I think it's there. I
do too.
There's a lot of people that says that, it's not there. It's nobody will do accounting on it or anything like that there. But I think that it's there because you can elect a president, but there is people out there that run this country that is unelected and keeps us going somewhat.
First Mining Gold is a development company advancing two of the largest gold projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet, located in Quebec, each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well-financed, has zero debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects.
At the end of the month, if you have some excess funds and you go to convert, I'm moving away from saying buy because you don't really.
Yeah, that's convert. I'm just converting my money. That's all.
Convert. Yeah, you're convert. So when you do your conversion, what do you prefer, silver or gold? Just out of curiosity.
I'd prefer to buy gold, but I buy silver.
Yeah.
Even if I can't afford at that time to buy gold, if I buy silver, I can still trade my silver in for gold once I hit a certain point,
Right.
So buying silver is just as good as buying gold, or for the average person, The issue that I have with silver is that it takes far less gold to have for your wealth. I can take a Ziploc gallon baggie of gold and put it in my pocket and be out of here if I had to, if something happened, and most of my wealth is covered.
Right.
But if you have it all in silver, now I've got to have a suitcase, or I've got to have 2 suitcases. I mean, depends on the person.
Right.
Like, Plus you gotta take some food, you gotta take some water, you gotta take extra clothes, you gotta pack
Right.
all this stuff. And so you might have to leave your silver there at your home, or
Mhm.
have a good place underneath the orange tree somewhere planted, but
Right.
that's just my preference.
I've
This
heard, buddy, I've heard that if you fill a shoebox full of silver, it's pretty darn hard to pick it up. Now, I've just heard that. I
Yeah,
don't know if
I've
you've
heard
heard
that
that
too.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
And I would imagine maybe you can get, I don't know, $15,000 worth of silver or so into a shoebox. You start trying to haul a bunch of those shoeboxes around with you, it could be a little prohibitive, I guess you would say.
right. I could carry, a couple $100,000 of gold on me and still be mobile.
Right, right. Still be able to run a mile, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know, not at this age. I'm not a good runner, but yeah. But I think that, and then now I got a kind of a funny story.
Sure.
And my mom's got a cousin, and we'll call her Bob, because this is a public channel, just so we don't
Sure.
Bob upset, if she would ever run across this. But she got back to, you remember, was it 2002, something like that, when they started the presidential gold coins?
Yeah, right.
And they started that, and you could go to the bank whenever they made the first one. You could get a roll of those presidential coins for, what is it, $25 rolls or $20 rolls or whatever. Then you see on TV these advertisements that they're going to charge you $39 a month, and they'll send you that coin, and they'll give you this little certificate, and this is an uncirculated. And so, she has religiously bought those, over the years, bought those dollar gold coins, then the state quarters, and she thinks she's got a fortune there. And I think
Right.
that's it. And so it looks gold, it's shiny, and I can't remember what the exact composition of them are, but there's no gold in them,
Mhm.
But and so it's made by the U.S. Mint, and people get fooled. And so Bob, she she has got a whole room full of that stuff, and all she's got is face value,
Mhm.
but I think the story I was wanting to say about that is, if there's somebody that's new to the channel or new to gold stacking or silver stacking, they need to watch that. There's a lot of legit scams on gold and silver or coins. So
Mhm.
I did want,
Especially on TV. If you watch, I'm home during the day and I'll flip on Fox News or sometimes CNN at around lunchtime, and it's one after another. And one form or another, and it's not a complete scam, but it's a really bad deal that they're offering.
yeah. That
Oh,
one, there's that one. There's that one shopping thing that's on TV that
yeah,
see in the mornings.
right.
And the guy, he's got a Morgan that really is only worth, what, $31 maybe,
Yeah.
and they're selling them for $200, and when they're gone, they're gone. You better get and
Right.
I mean, the people are actually investing in silver, but they're being
They're being ripped off. They're being
yes, they're
ripped
being
off.
ripped off. Yeah.
Let me know if you agree with me on this. What I would recommend for people is find a local
LCS.
bullion coin dealer that you can trust, read reviews, that's one option. And there are some big bullion. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I
Right.
think generally you can say like SD Bullion, JM Bullion,
Mhm.
AppMax, I think there's a place called Liberty Coins that my friend Coin Shop Chris, he
Yeah.
buys stuff from. There's
I
some
bought, I
good.
bought, I bought from Liberty off of eBay. They have
Yeah.
that, and I've never had any issues with Liberty. I think
Okay.
they're good. And there's some
Yeah,
other.
yeah, it's interesting you say that because I'm not sponsored by Liberty Coins, but Coin Shop Chris, he is, I mean, he lives this every single day, and he
Right.
kind of speaks very highly of Liberty Coins. At some point, they're going to sponsor Coin Shop Chris or me, and we're going to have piles of gold and silver, maybe Buddy Rumble as well. But
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say no, but
right. But yeah, I mean, there are some good, legitimate, quality online dealers as well. Either that or go to a local coin shop. But if you don't know anything about the local coin shop, I don't know, read the Google reviews, make sure that make sure that you're dealing with a reputable dealer.
right. Yeah, but like I said, Liberty, Chris is right. I've watched your show when Chris has been on there and listened to him, and but and I think the other day you guys they would talk hit on Liberty, but I've bought from Liberty, and they get it to you quick, and there's no hassles. I've never been cheated by them, so they're a reputable company.
Right. Why don't we end with this? I'm going to get your opinion on this, buddy.
Okay.
We talked, you mentioned earlier about, we need to get more people on board. We need more people to realize the value of gold and silver. When it comes to like stackers, and I know there's no definitive statistic on what this number is, but I would estimate that like people that are what we would call stackers and let's say passionate about silver and gold, we're maybe, I don't know, what do you think? 1 in 300 people in the United States? I mean, I'm not just saying people that hold silver or gold, but people that are kind of really into it. Like
Right.
maybe
I would agree with you, 1 in 300. I mean, if you really want to end a conversation with somebody that's boring and you'd like to get off the phone with them, or you're talking to them on the street, start talking about silver or gold, and well, hey, I've got to go. I
gotta pick my kids up.
Yeah, I gotta pick my kids up right
here. You know what, buddy? I gotta go. I gotta go pick my daughters up at school, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the best thing to do if you want to get off the phone with somebody, or you're wanting to get away from that person and you need to get away quick. Start talking about gold and silver and how the dollar is going to collapse and that they should be buying gold and silver, and they will drop you, and they'll be polite about it, but they'll run fast.
So
come on back. You got to hear this about gold now. You got to hear about it. No,
I'll tell you.
I'll see you some other day.
I'll tell you a quick funny story. I was talking to my mom over the weekend, and I was telling her about the banks, right? My mom and dad are the salt of the earth, wonderful middle-class people, and they're very financially responsible. They're in a very secure financial condition, but they don't know anything about silver and gold, right? Their parents never taught them, and they couldn't, it was illegal, right? I mean, whatever. Anyway, I was telling my mom all about the banks, and I was like, look, Mom, this is serious. You got, they have some money in some of the big banks. And I'm like, you got to be, and my mom's dad, my grandpa, he lived to be 95 years old. And he was not super wealthy, but, I think he was a millionaire when he died, lived in a little house, read the Wall Street Journal every day. I got to know him really well during the last 5-10 years of his life. I'd go see him once a week, and we'd talk about kind of like the stuff like people like you and I like to talk about. Now, he was not a silver or gold guy, but all of his kids, he had 6 kids, they would always say like, oh, Grandpa, he's doom and gloom. He's real negative. So I was talking to my mom about the banks, and toward the end, it's got that feeling, and I said, Mom, I said, I'm sorry. I said, I feel like I'm like Grandpa Rademeyer, like doom and gloom. And she said, yeah, she goes, but you know what? She said, he was always right. He always wound up being right. And I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll leave it at that, but yeah, I made videos about that. Don't even try Don't even, you know, at Thanksgiving, at whatever, don't even try to talk to people about silver and gold because they don't, but they will. And this is what I want to circle back to was my question that I went long-winded on with you here is, you know, we got 1 in 300 people now that are interested, right? I mean,
Right.
really interested. If the turds hit the fan and that 1 in 300 turns into 10 in 300, that's like 10 times as much money, right? Or 5 in 300 would be 5 times as much money. Right now, there's not, I mean, there's silver and gold available, but I
Right.
would say the supply is constricted at best, right? I know, you know, again, I
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
referring to
yeah.
So what's going to happen if we get 10 times as many people, 10 times as, and we're the wealthiest, we're still the wealthiest country in the world, just here in the
Right.
United States, you know, investment demand, like, you know, we live in a little bubble. You know, Buddy and Ron are bouncing around in the same bubble, but we're
Right.
little, you know, if more Americans, the wealthiest start, I mean, investment demand from the United States is really in a big picture, somewhat insignificant. It could really explode. There's not going to be any silver and gold. Or am I wrong?
No. I mean, it's going to be there, but that's why central banks and that's why these people have got that's why they're hoarding gold too.
Right.
And they're just going to mean there's going to be a more demand for it. The gold mining stocks, the silver mining stocks, they're going to go, you know, they're going to go great guns. I mean, it's it's going to be dry for a while, but and I don't know that it ever will be enough for everybody, but the people that's got this gold and silver now are going to be the people that are set and good, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And at some point, you know, I've never sold ever an ounce of silver, and I'm a silver guy. I've never sold an ounce, but at some point, if the situation unfolds, I think people have to be prepared of what they may convert their silver and gold into, which isn't going to probably be real smart to convert it into whatever new fiat money system it comes up with, but maybe convert it into things like land and productive machinery and different real assets if a bubble were to come about in the price of silver and or gold.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
I agree with that. There'll be some new businesses pop up. There'll be new millionaires and it'll be from saving silver and gold.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, buddy. I hope we get to have you on again. Maybe.
I would love it. I mean, I got lots of things we can talk about on silver and gold.
I know. I'm thinking we've probably gone for 30 minutes now, but I mean, I'm thinking of different. You know, we could talk about the geopolitical situation. We could talk the debt limit crisis that's coming up. There's a lot of things we can talk about.
Yeah.
And let's make sure we do that again. On behalf of all my viewers, I want to say thank you. Okay. We really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and sharing your insight. Oh, and before I forget, that John Exter guy that we talked about at the beginning, you know this, but likely a lot of the viewers don't. John Exter from Exter's Pyramid, EXTER, look it up, guys, if you're not familiar with it. He was a Federal Reserve governor. And he just died. It's not like this. He was like from the 1700s. He just died like in 2006, I think it is.
Yeah, I don't know when it was, but I knew that he was the Federal Reserve governor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Federal Reserve, right? I mean, what does that tell us? So,
yeah.
You have a good day, buddy. I'll see you soon.
And remember, if you're going to buy Christmas gifts, buy your family a silver coin. This is for your listeners. And like and share and subscribe to Ron. We got to get him. I mean, this is the man we love.
Well, we love having people like you on the channel. Thanks, buddy Rumble.
Thank you, Ron.